Welcome back to my garage. I got lots to talk about regarding the Bonneville trip, but we have very little time now because the engine is in the mail and hasn't arrived yet, and I will take into account having to ship it back before I arrive in just under a month now. And we need a new pipe, we need to get it tuned and reliably running at full song, and yeah, that's what we need. We haven't got the engine yet. Let's start working on the pipe. And the new reed valves for the brute force concept will have to wait for a little while, because we need to get this stuff done. As soon as the engine is shipped, then we can start focusing on this again. I'm gonna cut the sheet metal in my mill. I've already made the CAD file. Not the most efficient use of material nor time, but it's the tool I've got. Laser or water or something would have been better. But this is faster, as I can do it here. Now, and don't wait. Not have to wait. Ah, I'm missing one. These two are the same. They don't look like that when you put them like this, but on top of each other. Ah, I'll have to cut out another one. Forgot to cut the number 5 piece and cut a duplicate of the number 4. So that's a mistake in the CAD model. So I'll have to cut this out separately. Which is a bummer. It's not perfect, but we can tack it and then use a mandrel and massage it into shape. One done, 12 to go. That's the main chamber welded up. I'm sorry for the really bad welding footage, and also, well, I realized the angle was completely stupid and I was covering everything. So for the last bit, I put the camera somewhere else and forgot to hit record. So we'll need to make a stinger attachment thing. I'm going to use this piece, shorten it and weld it onto here, and then we can turn up some some stinger inserts of various sizes. So this will not be a hard mounted pipe like the original pipe on the Landspeed bike. This will be slip joint like pretty much every pipe on every bike you see. About 95% of the welds turned out great. I had to do some grinding, and it's pretty much just down to fitment. I need to get a roller so I can a slip roll so I can make perfectly round pieces. Then it's because everywhere there's no gap, there's really easy to just melt the material together. As soon as there's a slight mismatch or a slight gap, then one piece of material starts heating up faster and starts melting. So fit up. It's not my welding that is the problem, it is the fit up. There's probably something wrong with my settings here, because it's so like too hot or too slow or something like that. Doesn't really matter. I'm much better at fusion welding with great fit up than I am with a little gap and filler rod, but it's on there. We can sand it down a little bit and it should be fine. Can be replaced by something less substantial, you know, bent welding rod or something, but quick stinger replacement thing. I just picked up the engine from the post office. I've had a look at the cylinder and it's gotten a bit knackered from handling. Old cylinder with a 0.1 millimeter ovality out of roundness. Needs to be honed and a larger piston. The old cylinder is not beaten up at all. The new one has gotten some nicks in this face and the sides here. Not sure, might be this going on. I'll have to measure this once again. I measured it at Travis's place, and we had 0.05 clearance, which is what we want. I'm going to re-measure that just to double check. It's running extremely tight in here. Pretty much exactly 5 years ago, this engine was in this garage, and now it's back. Probably my most successful project so far. So we're gonna make this reliable now, and I've run some simulations, and actually, contrary to my beliefs, running the Speedway carb here is actually the intake will be too short, which is a good thing, because I can create the 90, which will steal some power, but I think we'll gain that power back by having the carb faced forwards. I'm wondering why this is so tight. Maybe it got a knock in shipping. I made some two-stroke stuffing Bonneville 2024 t-shirts with awesome artwork by Dante Verna, DV Auto Art on Instagram. Check them out, there's a link in the description. I didn't edit the rest of Friday. I actually took a day off because I was kind of mad. And the reason is the crank being super out of true. I don't think it's bent. Like, it looks bent, but you can see it clearly really moving inside of the case. So this can be from factory, because I've never run this. I just installed it before we left Colorado, or it could be shipping. A combination of both. It really got knocked in shipping. Like USPS really brutalized the package. Like, you don't need an indicator. That crank web is just completely out of whack. I didn't press record, of course. We're still not through though. It's much better than what it was. We're now seeing a high spot here and a low spot about here. And with my handy little guide here, we can see what's happening. So we saw I forgot. We're seeing a low spot with a conrod close, high spot with the conrod far away, pretty much straight across. So high, conrod far away. And with this exaggeration piece, we can see that high, low, close, high, far away. And that means this web will have to be knocked a little bit. So we'll knock this web. And we'll see how far that got us. Might be too far actually. This crank is really easy to move around. Maybe too easy. So now we're high. We're highest with the conrod close. Low with the conrod far away. And I always forget. Okay, so now the opposite. So we knocked it too far. I'm gonna knock it real careful now. It's high with the conrod close. Oh, we're getting closer. So now we're at the highest here. And probably the lowest here now, yeah. So now we need to unpinch the crank a little bit. We've got a wedge. And just carefully wedge it into shape. Oh. So this is still our high spot. Well, now it's too wedged. Like, this moves too easy. Starting to question that press fit. Low. High. Well, now it needs to be wedged a little bit. Low. High. Okay, more wedging. Still a tiny bit low there. low, high, tiny bit more. Low, high. Okay, a little bit more. 1/100th of a millimeter now. I think we can get it better. That's our high spot. And this is our low spot now. So still a tiny bit more wedging action. And high. Now it's high with the conrod close. And that was enough to really screw things over. Well, I pinched it again. Low. Okay, so it's not really moving at all now, and I think we'll call that good. So you can see here, yeah, we're good. Great. Now be careful with the crank, no dropping. So we're gonna run the spare cylinder. That'll be our main cylinder, and the old cylinder will be our spare. I'll have to hone this up to a larger dimension. It's really worn and really egg-shaped. The egg shaping is that is probably from where, because this has been run a lot actually before it ended up in the land speed bike. And but the wear is I think mostly from us trying that sodium silicate compound as an exhaust sealant, and and of course that hardened into like glass, and the exhaust system or the cylinder sucked it into the cylinder and really scored things up. But I can hone this up to I think actually AM6 size, so 4.3 millimeters, and will still be under 50 cc as the crank is only 39.1 stroke. But that'll be a spare. I gotta clean this up a little bit. It's got some nicks in it from shipping, and just prepare it for yeah, just clean this up a little bit, and we'll start installing. And then we'll make a new flange for the exhaust to fit. Spring loaded this time. The ring might be worn from, so this was run like one run. Might be worn from that sodium silicate treatment. 0.6 is loose in there, 0.7 doesn't go in, 0.65 worn. We ran through the spares fairly quickly this time. And that ring doesn't fit at all, like it's, so the wear is just insane. Okay, I'm gonna file this to a 0.3 millimeter gap. That should be not too large, but also safe. Okay, so we're over 0.8. We'll have to remove, now we know, we'll have to remove a gasket. Let's torque this properly and then pull the whole cylinder. 48.5, that's a good squish. Open 145 before top dead center, close 88 degrees after top dead center. Oh, 90, but I think it was 88. It ended up with how the crank is cut. Well, not the crank, the valve. So let's see here. I need an O-ring with a thinner cross section, and I should be able to find that at the local hardware store, hopefully. So let's just pretend I've got an O-ring that fits. If we can't find an O-ring, that's fine too. Like, this will seal good enough. I'll need to down jet. I'm gonna lower the needle, see if that helps me get past the hump here. I'm hoping it won't be necessary to struggle with this shit. Like not getting over a hump shit. It's already sitting fairly low. I don't think that's a problem. Replace the card with a different PWK card. A K-hin, this is an OCO. Could be this was prepared for methanol, and could be it's like flooding the engine. We'll see. Like low compression. It doesn't want to push my finger off. The ring gap is far too large. I think the ring wasn't like seated properly while taking that measurement earlier, and I filed it because it's far too large. The old ring is better. It's still like 0.6 millimeters gap. Let's see, I've got another one here. This one's been run in sometime. Actually, that's the tightest one I've got. Is this properly seated? Let's try the old worn unknown ring, because it has the tightest gap. And note to self, make absolutely sure the ring is really pushed into the bore, no burrs or anything in the way. Drill is coming loose. Okay, that's my cue, I think. The timing had slipped. It's sitting at 50 degrees before top dead center. Should be 80, well, 78 or something, 68. I lost by 17. That was our problem, not the ring. That thing. Let's go back to the original setup with the 24mm carb, now that the ignition timing is not screwing around with us. I think I'm going to hook up the chain to give it a little more resistance. Might make, because now it's just like too rich, far too rich, but there's no resistance at all for it. And just make sure that it actually, just make sure that it revs. Then we're gonna switch over to the methanol carb and see how that behaves. Because we need to make a decision here if we're gonna use this carb for Nitro or the other one. And the other one should make much more power and be able to safely deliver enough fuel. I'm not too sure about this. Let's hook up the chain here to give it a little more something to work against. So here you can see the problem with fuel foaming. You can see how the vibrations wreak havoc on fueling. But it's running okay, like, except for that problem. Let's try the Speedway carb and tuning, do the tuning on that. So this is, I'm immune to vibration because there's no float pole, but it's really imprecise compared to a float pole carb. It has to be run on the more forgiving methanol varieties, where that not too rich window is far more reliable. The 90-degree bend is for ram air, and it actually, in simulations, this was better than the super short carb, compared to what I thought. Well, we don't know in real life, and we don't know if this will even work. Maybe, for once, this will just work great, and we can continue on. We just need some resistance. I'm gonna hook up a cable so that I can control it from the other side. The most unsafe dynoing ever, standing with that chain under me trying to brake the engine, but it just needs some resistance to clear up. Like there's with so little resistance, it just like too rich. Try that adjustable main jet, it's far too rich. It's not going my way. Looked more promising yesterday. No speedway carb, normal PWK, gas. Let's see what happens. There's no doubt in my mind we can get it running good on gas with this carb, 24mm. And I think maybe we should, we'll have to like create some kind of a scoop here. I don't think that'll, I'm gonna print that. But I really want to run that, the other fuel. And I have done that in this carb before. And the readings are like really hard to because of this is just impossible to control. I think we'll have to find peak power RPM in Colorado as soon as possible. I think it seems like it's around 15,500 RPM. And there's this option, which is set up for methanol and has its own pump. If you want to try methanol fuel in this now, we know it runs fine, runs good on gas. Should try it on methanol, this carb. Sorry for not filming much here, I'm trying to be quick. 24mm PWK carb, works great. Mega large jets, power jets, methanol, nitromethane. Start with choke. If it behaves okay, we'll go for this and cross our fingers. Running lean at the lower, like it doesn't want to return to idle. The idle is lean. Main jet seems good now. Idle, lean. It's clearly been overflowing. To hell with this. We're running it on gas for now. And if it's not powerful enough on gas, then we'll look into look into a methanol fuel, but I just don't have the time now to try to make something work that, yeah. And obviously we're getting enough fuel now, but far too much fuel. Still runs fine with far too much fuel, but not down low, just up high. Pulse ports. So this will be threaded into a pulse port in the case. Gotta find a good place for it, where I can drill and tap without having to disassemble the whole case. And a little scoop here for ram air. Let's see how it behaves. Hopefully it's more manageable with this carb than the other. The problem with the pumper, well, the Speedway carb, I'm not quite sure what was the problem. Probably flooding. The problem with the float bolt carb was definitely like it was getting too much fuel, which is a good thing because then you can dial it down. But I think the advantage of having the engine upside down is you can pull the plug and drain the case, and it's hard to tell. Like, you saw how much fuel was sitting in the case when it started like locking up, and it was still running and actually acting lean because like lots of fuel, but it never got into the head because it never vaporized properly. So hopefully this like atomizes better, or we'll see. Might actually be easier with the engine upside down, because then all the fuel will end up in the combustion chamber if it wants to or not. That's a success. The dyno is like dying. It's I think we were like impossible to control, but successful enough to bring to Colorado and tune this on the bike. Because this setup is just like, to break this dyno is just impossible to control. This is the end of the video. There's no, like, I don't even have room for the stuff on the camera now on my computer, so I have to edit and delete and add, yeah, whatever. This is the end. Thanks for watching. See you next time. And I think we might be able to do this